Board. Games. Board games, it's what I'm talking about this morning. Board games, board games, it's the reason why I'm singing. Today I'm talking about a game that's all about trees. There are also other games that are all about bees, but those are not the games that I am talking about today. I am talking about photosynthesis in my own way. Photosynthesis is a game for 2 to 4. Photosynthesis is a game that I adore. I love it for several reasons, and let's talk about those reasons now. Hello, I hope you are all well this morning. Today it is Sunday, and I am Bez. It is approximately breakfast time, and I'm going to blether about board games, which makes it the Bezzy Breakfast Board Game Blether. And we have a little schedule, and as you can see there, it just went off the screen. Today, on Sunday, I'm talking about Photosynthesis, which is a game that I really like. If you're watching this and you enjoy it, then please do comment. Let me know that you're watching. Share it, let other people know about it, and be sure to thumb if you can. And good morning, Alan. It's lovely to see you. And today is all about photosynthesis. Yay. Now, I realized that this morning, little peek behind the scenes, we had a little bit of, calamities here, let's call them. Let's not get too much into it. So I'm going to take just a tiny moment to copy paste this over. So photosynthesis is a game for 2 to 4 players. It's designed by. There we go. It's designed by Hjalmar Hach. I don't know how to pronounce that. I'm sorry, Hjalmar, if I'm pronouncing your name terribly. It was illustrated by Sabrina Miramon, who did a lovely job on the box cover and also the trees, which we'll explore in a moment. It's a perfect information game, by which I mean there's literally zero randomness, and once you've got the game started, you are not going to roll any dice. There's no hidden cards. There's nothing like that. It's a game that, like the 2-player abstracts of Hive, of Go, of Chess, you could, in theory, look really far into the distance. And indeed, if you played this 2-player, it is, some might say, an abstract strategy game. Yes, it has a theme, but it has all the lovely trappings of an abstract strategy game. And yes, Sabrina Miramon has done an amazing job. So shout out to the designer and the artist. I think this was really where Sabrina Miramon really got a name for themselves, because after this, they did a bit more work, and was after this that they started working on Dice Hospital and all those games. And Sabrina can correct me if I'm wrong, but yeah, Blue Orange, fun publisher. They make a lot of nice party games. They make, I believe that Blue Orange is also part of the Asmodee conglomerate, and they are responsible for King Domino. They are responsible for some speed matching games. Blue Orange, what they did here is they made the game out of 100% recycled components, which is a really nice aspect. But let's not get too far ahead of ourselves. Let's talk about brilliant things, brilliant things. Here's a little thing that is brilliant. I want to talk about running water. I mean, genuinely, running water, oh my God. I mean, this is something that we don't normally take for granted here in the West. But the fact that I can just turn a little thing and, if you are living in somewhere where you don't have running water or, there's something wrong with your sink or you just don't have it, then, heart goes out to you. But running water where you just turn a thing and then automatically you can fill up an entire buckets. You could fill up, entire pots full of water to cook with. Just fill up, your shower and cascading rain on top of you to wash with, as I do every morning. And water heaters, I mean, we're not even getting into water heaters. Let's just talk about the running water, that it goes through our loos, to flush away our excretions. Running water is pretty awesome. So yeah, running water, that is a brilliant thing. Running water. Yay for running water. Now onto games. What have we been playing? What are their names? If you've been playing any games yesterday, please let me know. I'm always interested to hear from you. And personally, the only game I played was Micro Muckle, which it seems like that's the game that I always tend to play with my family these days. I might start trying to introduce, the adults to something a little bit trickier. Maybe we might go back. We might try playing one of the backwards ones. But yeah, Micro Muckle, that's what I've been playing. Still enjoying it. And Alan agrees. Running water, brilliant. That's totally where it's at. But beyond Micro Muckle, not played any other games other than a quick, 5 minutes of Ingress. Daily highlights, daily highlights, daily highlights. It's the actions, hearings, and sights. Yeah, that needs a bit more work. Daily highlights, are some wonderful sights. I saw some wonderful sights. Yeah, I did. Daily highlights, daily highlights, daily highlights. I saw some wonderful sights. So, daily highlights. The biggest highlight for me was that I did actually go off cycling to the end of the Victoria Line. So I went to Walthamstow Central, and now I'm like, yeah, that's what the Victoria Line's all about. And I took little photographs. I'm probably going to share them on Twitter. There was Seven Sisters is just down the road, and then there's another one that I forget the name of. It doesn't really show the name of this one station, but it's a really big one. And I noticed all the buses had these little sign markings now saying that there's a limit of 10 people or 20 people, depending whether it's a single carriage or double-decker bus. I mean, for a moment I was thinking, hey, maybe it would make sense to actually block out some of the seats, but no, it wouldn't, because you want the families and couples to sit next to each other because they're all already isolating together. But yeah, they've got, they don't go to full capacity, which is a really good thing. I definitely saw a lot more buses going along. The traffic, I would say, is 90% of what London normally is. It was such a beautiful day, going along, seeing the flowers, seeing the dried up leaves, which is a little bit sad, but seeing things, learning a little bit about the area that I live in, and then going back to Finsbury Park and doing a little bit of reading. I also got a book that was given to me as a present just because of my position. Basically, they were giving this book, saying that if I enjoyed it, then please let other people know about it. And this book is called I Thought This Would Be Fun. Let me look them up quickly. And I've only read 30 pages of it. I will give some sorts of review at some point down the line. So that's a daily highlight. What have you enjoyed? Now, on to the main topic of photosynthesis. And let's go on to the screen sharing. Photosynthesis. Of course, BGG is not the be-all, end-all, but you can see people generally like it. 7.2. I mean, people on BGG can be pretty critical, so that's a good score. It came out in 2017 by Hjalmar Hach and Sabrina Miramon, publisher. Blue Orange Games made it, but then there's a lot more people who were later responsible. It's translated into at least that many languages, including, by the looks of it, Chinese, Thai, Russian, is that Korean? Yep. And there's all these other companies which are going to be to do with the localization. And yeah, it's a really nice game. I like it. That's the cover without the thing, and that's apparently, is that to Hjalmar Hach? Is that the designer? I don't know. But there we go. This is some prototype shots. But now let's see it in the flesh. And let's see if you're ready to play against me, because I figured that was probably the best way to explain the game. So just for the record, bias, I like Blue Orange Games. I have a professional desire to work with them at some point in the future. So I'm going to be a little bit cognizant of what I'm saying. I mean, well, you know, if I don't like something, I believe that I would still say it. I mean, I have a professional, you know, Blue Orange Games, they make nice games, and that's the reason why I have a professional desire to work with them. It's kind of a, it's not a, oh, I've got a professional desire to work with them, therefore I'm going to say I like all their games. It's the other way around. But I got this game, I paid money for it, it was a second-hand copy. I can't remember how much it is, how much I paid. I first encountered it, I want to say 20. I saw it several times, I was aware of it. As we said, it came out in 2017, I want to say. Yep, 2017. And I first played it last year, 2019, at Bastion, the Welsh Game Convention. I really enjoyed it, and I enjoyed it so much, I was like, yep, I'm wanting to buy that game. Now, you can see on the box, there's a little bit of UV spotlight just on the trees, which is why that's shining. Very nice. On the side, it says 8+. I probably wouldn't expect my 8-year-old niece to be able to play this, but maybe your 8-year-old niece is different. 2 to 4 players. It's a quite different game as you go up the player counts, because it is a game all about blocking each other. So as soon as you get to 3 players, let alone 4, one person could be really stymied by everyone else choosing, hey, we're going to block Bez, or we're going to block Alan, or whatever. And so, yeah, 2 players is more of a strategic game where there's no discrimination, there's no ganging up on anyone. 3, 4 players, there could be a little bit of politics, and there's a little bit of player-induced chaos. And then on the corner it says 45 to 60 minutes, which if you are playing at a decent rate, that's about right. Yeah, this is beautiful. And also, I don't know if you can see, the title is also UV spot finish, so it kind of shines. The 4 sides of the box, that reflects the front cover. This represents the 2 seasons. I believe that's winter and summer, I want to say. And there we go, spring and autumn. Now, Sabrina Miramon did a beautiful, beautiful job. And on the back of the box, I've not even... Normally I do a little dissection of the back of the box, whether I agree or not. So this game is in 4 languages, at least this copy is. In English, French, German, and Italian, Spanish, I don't know. Sorry, people. To be part of nature's blossom and indulge in the sun's benefits. 1. Plant your seeds. 2. Stock up on sunlight while avoiding the shade. 3. Grow and expand your own tree variety to impose it as the most respected in the forest. I mean, yes, that is absolutely true. It's all about indulging in the sun's benefits. It is all about photosynthesis. And I want to get later into the fact that the theme and the mechanisms do coalesce so nicely. Plant your seeds, yeah, sure. And I like this 1, 2, 3 kind of, this is what you're doing, it works well. But stock up on sunlight whilst avoiding the shade, absolutely true. But then this little bit, grow and expand your own tree variety. No, it's nothing to do with variety. It's just about getting bigger trees. Nothing to do with variety. This is not a game about eco diversity. This is not about variety. Just that small word. Grow your trees. Grow your own trees to become the most respected in the forest. That might be work. Just that bit's like, that's not quite true. I mean, I was never annoyed by it before, but so there we go. Little box farts. These are the English and American rules. There we go. And the other rules seem to have been maybe discarded or thrown away before I even got the game. The rules are simple enough. There's lots of pictures. There's 4 pages, and it'll have you up and running quite easily. It's well done, and there is nothing too complicated about this game. Let me get down and set up the board. Now, you've got this little thing that fell out. This is the sun ray marker, so it kind of shows which direction the sun is coming from this turn. Here are the 4 personal markers, and I just can't get over how beautiful this is. So here, I believe, so there's kind of 4 varieties of trees. Again, this is not a game where you're trying to grow variety. This is a game where you're trying to get your tree to be the best. So you've got spring, like a trees type, I think that's oak or something, that's got the little acorns, and that's vaguely based around spring, and this is what might be in front of you. This is your own little player market where you buy your trees. I'm not going to go over all the rules for this game. This is summer. I mean, how gorgeous is that? And then you've got your own little trees, and the seeds look a little bit different. And then you've got autumn, which is kind of orangey, and again, gorgeous. And there's little animals. You can see the little fox and the squirrel. Oh, that's so cute. And then you've got winter, and winter is like this blue. I mean, it's not totally realistic. It's more illusionary, a bit representational, and you know, they've all got this unique backing. And then winter, you've got that. Then we've got the player board. The player board is where you're going to grow your trees. So this is what the player board looks like. You really want to be in the center of the forest, because you can sort of see that's where you're going to get the most points. When you grow your trees to the biggest size, then you will get points based on you know, how close to the center of the forest it is. On the outside, you're more likely to get light because you're not going to be shaded in. On the inside, you're going to be shaded in by others. You might be shading others, so it's like but you will get the most points. As you can see by the number of leaves, it is the most valuable. And we've got these, which are the points markers. Let me flip down the camera a little bit. So these are the points markers, which kind of show you here, this is like how many rounds you've had, and you normally play with 3 rounds. This is like the first player marker, which is lovely. And for each position, there's several potential points. So for position 2, it might be 14 and then go down to 13. For this one, it might be a lot less. And what's the other tokens we've got? Here are some more of those markers that give you points based on where you are. And you can see if it's 2, it could go up to 17. If it's 3, then it could go up to 19. And if it's right in the middle, then you can go up to 22 points. There we go. And we've got these little tokens, which are the seeds for all the little tree varieties. And then we've got the most gorgeous bits of all, which I'm going to drag over the box just to show you. Do you see that? Lots of different trees. So, oh, by the way, these are the energy tokens, like for photosynthesis. So you've got the blue trees and little ones, small one, medium ones, big ones. And as the game goes on, you're just going to be growing this board. I mean, not in this manner, obviously. This is just me putting them out to show you what's going on. But there's... I just want to illustrate this. I mean, game mechanisms are more important than game art. We already decided that, and I agreed that yesterday. But game art is something that sells a game that why not have both? It's like in this day and age where... And again, this is all recycled material, which is really cool, and I really appreciate. So that's what the trees look like. Is that not beautiful? Come on. And you've got all the other trees are sort of in the box. Let me do. So all the other trees, that's how it all gets stored. Really nice storage device. Okay, so how does it play? What does it feel like to play? Okay, let's say, let me give a very quick overview, and then we will get down into it. So to set up the game, got this board, put it somewhere in the middle of the table, but hey, I'm a rebel. I'm putting it at the edge of the table, so yeah. We start off with the sun, and it's shining all over the place. Now, the central mechanism of the game is about light. This is where it gets really, really nice, where the mechanisms really play into the theme. So let's say the sun is shining this way, because it currently is. So you've got little arrows just to remind you how it goes. And so that means that you're going to consider each line. You'll notice that this board is kind of like a hexagonal map. Now, if you've got a little tree here and a little tree here, because this one is directly after this tree is going to be in the shade. And that's just the way it goes. And so similarly, oh, that's not quite within shot. If this was here and this was here, it would be within the shade. If it was here, then that would be totally fine, because the shade of a small tree is only one big, whereas the shade of a big tree is too big. So this would be 1, 2. So this would be in the shade then. And you're trying to not have your own trees in each other's shade. You're trying to not be in the shade of other people. You're trying to be where your trees would get the most light. However, it's worth noting that every round, the sun rotates. And so now the light's all going this way. Now the light's all going this way. That's going this way. Now it's going that way. Now it's going that way. And then now you've played a complete round, and then you play 3 rounds. This is where all the action happens. This is one of the marketplaces that everyone is going to get. So at the start of the game, let's say I was blue, because that's the first one that I happened to pick up. I would start off not on the board, but on my own little bit. I would put out all the blue things, boom, 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 boom. And these are trees that are kind of available for me to buy, if you know what I mean. Sometimes you do get trees that come out of their little things, and you need to put them back together. So everyone would be doing this simultaneously. Everyone would be going for ha. And then you end up with a bunch of little trees that you're now about to put on the board. And some trees that you have available to you. I believe it's 1 and 2. You also start off with some of your own little seeds. And what happens is that this is a game all about the light, all about the photosynthesis, which, again, I just can't get over how marvelous this is. So you start off with your little seeds here, beep, 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 beep. And then that's the way it sets up. And you know it's the way it sets up because there's a space for everything. Is that not really nice? Is that not, form-following function? And you start off with some amount of lights every turn. And you can see that this is what you can spend light on. So you can spend light on making a seed, one to make a seed, one to grow a seed into a little tree, one It's 2 to grow a little tree into a medium tree, and 3 to grow a medium tree into a big tree. And so as the game starts, each player would have 2 trees down. You would take it in turns to choose where to place. So if I started there, you would not place anywhere along here. You'd probably place on another corner. And maybe I place here because I know I'm definitely going to get that light. And maybe you're placing, well, you might not place there because if I get to size 3, or you might grow there because then you're hoping that you go to size 3 before it gets round. Let's say you do. So that might be how we start. And then on our turn, we have some amount of light. I can't remember how much he starts off with. Oh, is it 5? Because there's a little mark there. No, this is the light. Yeah, I can't remember how much lights we get. Oh, we starts off with 0. But we do get, and yeah, so we start off with our 2 lights that we're getting because each little tree generates 1 light. And if we later on had a medium tree, that would be 2 lights, and a big tree would be 3. So it's easy to remember 1, 2, 3. So first turn you get 2 lights, and with our 2 actions, okay, what am I going to do? I've already got this available, so I would choose to spend the 2 light to upgrade it like that. And then that goes back in the box. Now what this means is that next turn, after you've done your things, maybe you cast a little. Which one is? I think that one's the orange. And maybe you put that over there, because you're trying to work more into the center. And then it goes here. Now I'm going to get 1, 2, 3 light, whereas you're only going to get 2 light. And so, okay, boom. I'm going to think about now. Maybe I cast a seed, and my seed can go further because this is a bigger tree. Or maybe I save up some of my light. Maybe I think, okay, I want to buy a big tree from. Whoops, that should have been a medium tree. Maybe I think, okay, I buy a big tree from my stock. This is the one little bit that sometimes people get a bit confused with. You need to buy from here in order to have in your personal stock before you can put on the board. So there's kind of a 2-step process. From this kind of market into your personal area, and then it becomes reality. Then you can grow your trees. That is the only bits that I have found people having trouble with. And as the trees grow, you will, over the course of the game, get more and more trees filling up the board. And then eventually, when you have your biggest size of tree at some point, which might indeed be the very end of the game, you say, okay, I'm going to make this one ascend. And then that goes away, freeing up space for other people. And I would grab one of these scoring markers, maybe to get 22 points. Because I was in the middle of the table there. Now that is, in a nutshell, how photosynthesis works. And growing trees, it's a game about resource management. It's a game about, do you grow your trees or do you get more trees? Where do you place these things? Because it's all about these lines of, okay, I want to be thinking about what's happening not just this turn, but also in the next turn. Where is the sunlight going to come from next? So if this was the situation, if this were the situation in a future round, well, that's not a great example. Maybe I'd be thinking, okay, well, in 2 turns, this is going to be potentially blocking this. So maybe if I want to be a bit mean, I could grow this up now to a medium tree if I have the light energy, and then it goes forward. Because remember, you can only grow your tree once per turn. I mean, it doesn't make sense for you to be able to have seed, little tree, medium tree, big tree all in one turn. I mean, trees are slow. And this game reflects that. So you can only you can't make a seed and then grow it in the same turn. But now I've grown a medium tree. Now, next turn I could grow a big tree. And now, finally, in this situation, boom, this tree is big enough to cast this one's in the shadow. Haha, you are in my shadow. And this is a really mean game. This is a game about basically dominating over the light, kind of enjoying all the sun and putting everyone, literally casting shade upon other people. This is a mean game. And that leads me to my first point, that there is a strong positive feedback loop. Because once I have gotten to dominate the light in this way, that's free light that I'm getting and free light that you're not getting. That's quite a bit. Now, next, that means that I am going to be able to do more things. So maybe, okay, I see that for the next turn, I'm going to lose free light. That is a bit of a bummer. This was a bit of a stupid thing for me to do, especially since, I'm casting in my own shadow. That's just silly. But maybe now, okay, if I've got enough light, maybe I work on this one and even get this one to be bigger the following turn, so that once it comes back round, this one is no longer in the shadow of this tree, because as the light comes this way, a higher tree will still get the light, because you can only be cast in the shadows of something that's higher than you. It just makes logical sense. And getting back to the brilliant kind of theme mechanisms system, but then very quickly, as I get more and more light, I am able to dominate, and it's a virtuous cycle for me, a vicious cycle for you. And if one person is losing, then they can easily feel, oh, I could never come back into this game. I just don't know what to do. And this is not a game for the faint-hearted. This is a game that looks cute and cuddly, but it's mean, it's vicious, it's, bloodthirsty almost. Yes, there's wonderful, cute animals. I mean, look at the bottom of this route where there's, a little squirrel and there's little shrubs. There's a little squirrel again. And here, yeah, there's all the squirrels, and here it looks like there's a little pigeon. Don't know if you can see that properly. And so, yeah, it looks like a lovely game. It looks like a cute game. It looks like a cute, friendly game. But this is not a cute, friendly game. This is a game about, okay, how can I dominate? It's almost like it's an intensely interactive game. And if I want to play well, that involves denying you your resources. If I want to play well, it's not enough to just think, okay, how do I get the most points? Because every point that you get is an opportunity for you to get in my lights later down the road. If the board is full of trees, if the board is then suddenly I can't place my own things, because without me noticing, suddenly, okay, there's been all these trees that are springing up everywhere, and I can't get into the center anymore. If I got into the center, well, I'm not going to get any light. Conversely, if I were, and so every tree that you plant is an aggressive move. Every tree that you plant is going to block potential spaces. Even if a tree doesn't exist there yet, it's blocking a potential space. Every tree that someone else plants is blocking your potential moves. This is a game where you are fighting. This is not a game for people. So if we want to look at the accessibility, well, apart from the fact that on the inside of the box there are things, but you've got, again, I guess here, that's the spring, I want to say. Then there's the winter and summer, maybe. And then there's that, another box with white bloke on it. And then there we go. So in the game itself, there's no human representation. There's no representation of gender. The rules default to the player, which is good. Players. There's no he or she here, which good on you, Blue Orange Games. It's fairly accessible. It's got quite a bit going on there. I think that it's one of these games where, personally, if I were teaching it, I would be sort of giving a quick 2-3 minutes overview and then saying, okay, let's carry on, and I will guide you through your first few turns. And I will normally kind of almost, if someone's about to make a really bad move in the first game, I will always say, okay, you should actually do this other move. It's actually bad for me, but that's the move that you want to make. And hopefully by the time we've played one game, then people will be up for playing it a second time. But I know that Doric hates this, because I know Doric just gets really felt like they were locked out of the game. I played this a while back with Casey, who we had from Nigeria, Nibcard Games. There was a photo of us playing together with Muriel and Doric, and the four of us played. Doric got a bit constrained in the corner. We had a couple of warnings, but like I kind of said to Doric, but it can also feel like it becomes a little bit scripted, because in order to escape the possibility of people coming and taking over your light and getting in your way, there are clearly some moves that you should never make. Now, this is a game, this is where every decision matters. It's a game that adheres to the sorts of, not quite, almost the Splotter games theory, that your first turn should be able to lose you the game. If you make a bad decision on the first turn, you will lose the game. If you, and there's many potential ways to mess up yourself. For example, if at the start of the game, just wiping this all away, if at the start of the game I had gone here and you had gone here, like in this example, you're blue, I'm orange, well, that's just ruining yourself. I mean, what's that all about? And then if this is a thing that you could do, and if you did that, I would challenge anyone to win from this position, where they are going to get literally 0 lights on their first turn. I'm going to get 2, and also, okay, next turn you get your 2 light, but then also in 2 turns, when it comes this way, you're going to get these 2 lights. And me knowing that that's going to happen, I'm going to be able to make this a little bit bigger so I can get out of your shadow. And so, yeah, there are definite ways to screw yourself. And if it's no different to any other really abstract game, like hardcore perfect information abstract game like chess or like Go. And so, yes, you can screw yourself. And if you are one of these people who just wants to say, okay, let's try a thing and then see how people respond to it. Let's try a thing and see what happens. Let's try it. This is a game that's all about forward planning. This is a game about thinking 3 turns in the future, like a tree. Thinking about the future, taking it slow, looking a little bit ahead, because the sun is constantly shifting as it makes its way around the board. And this is a game of planning, of deep thought, of vicious domination. Yeah, that's my overview. That's how the game feels. And at some points after it's gone round 3 times, the biggest trees which have ascended have gotten you some number of points. I will say that personally, if I'm in the middle, I'm never giving up that space. If I ever get into the middle, well, I'm leaving that to get my 22 points. There's no point in getting rid and ascending your tree early, except for the fact that you only have 2 big trees. So 2 is the limit. So what you want to do is maybe, okay, you grow your tree and then you get into a turn where you can ascend one and then grow the other in the same turn. So you're never giving other people an opening. Keep hammering on them. because this is a battle of the trees, and this battle is vicious. Hi, Conrad. It's lovely to have you with us. If you have any questions about this game, feel free to ask. Alan Outson says, would you say you are an expert in playing this game? And if so, how long did it take to become an expert? I personally would not say I am an expert. I would say that I've never lost this game because I'm good at this kind of game. I'm good at forward planning. I've played a lot of abstract strategy games, and this game kind of goes into my mode of thinking. Obviously, if you I should actually also point out that if you're playing 3 or 4 players, back when I talked about, obviously it's a vicious game about getting in each other's way. And so now let's say I managed to grow my tree over here in the corner. If you want to attack it, and if other people like it, then yeah, you're going to hem it in. And if potentially, if 3 people are saying, okay, Bez always wins, we're going to ham on Bez, we're going to beat down on Bez, then I would be destined to lose. And that would be just the way that the game is. A note about what I mean about abstract strategy game, and I like the pun there. This game does shine light on what really happens in real life. Sure. When I say abstract strategy, I don't mean that necessarily there's no representational form in the game. What I mean by an abstract strategy game is it's a 2-player perfect information game. So a game where there's 0 randomness, 0 luck, and you take turns to take your move. So this is a kind of game that computers could get very good at playing. This is mechanically, not thematically, but mechanically, this game is from the same genre as Go, Chess, Hive. And whilst those games, yes, Hive has insects, and the insects do kind of match a little bit about what they do. And yes, here, the light, it does, the mechanisms do have a really strong interplay into what the real situation is. It's not a simulation, because the fact that, okay, let's say you've got this tree here, and then this casts a shadow up to here, and then this casts a shadow up to here. So now, this tree does not get any light. Neither of these trees gets any light. Because this one casts a shadow on this one, this casts a shadow on this one. If we wanted to be a bit more realistic, then maybe we would say this is this shadow is 1, 3 here, 2 here, 1 here, so there's still 2 remaining. And so maybe this still gets 2 light. You could make it's kind of like the shadow goes boom. That's kind of the shape of the shadow rather than a diagonal shadow. And here the shadow goes boom, boom, and it casts this entire big tree in shade. It's not like, oh, this tree gets a little bit of light at its top. No, this tree gets nothing. And so it is abstracted away a little bit, of course. And it's not a perfect simulation, but yeah, full information, realistic strategy game. Let's just call it a perfect information turn-based strategic game. It's a perfect information game. You've got all the information. There's no fir trees. Yeah. Oh, furs. Full information realistic strategy. I like that. Okay. It's a nice game. Talking about how long it takes you to become an expert, I would say that as I continue to play, I am continuing to learn more and more about it. And the fact that it is 3 or 4 players, it does kind of soften the blow a little bit. It does mean that, hey, I can bring it out with people, and no longer is it a contest between me and you. It's a contest between me, you, and Alan, for example, or no longer is it between me and McCall, it's now between me, McCall, and Chris, and so what that means is that I can't attack both of you. And so if you just try to avoid attacking each other and you play a more defensive game, and actually this is interesting, the way that in two players, playing a more attacking game is a little bit more meaningful. Playing a little bit more aggressive is going to benefit you more in two players because there's only one person to be aggressive against. As you go up the player counts, obviously you want to be a little bit more defensive, and instead of getting in someone's way and going right up next to them, hoping to grow up bigger than them, you might be, okay, I'm going to carve out my own area and just go into the most secluded spots. This, in a way, so I think I've probably given you the impression that I really love this game, and I do. So, and yeah, look, there's a little, I don't know what's going on there. I think it's a little squirrel. This game does have so much lovely stuff going on, so many lovely details in the things, and there's a little stout. Do you see that? Anyway, so I do love this game, but there's, I would say, two issues with it. Neither of these make it a bad game. It's just things to know if you are going to buy this game. So firstly, the game it has all the issues that come with a perfect information strategy game. I'm not going to put in the words abstract there, but it's a perfect information strategic game. So by all the downfalls, I mean that if you're playing it two-player, one person is almost certainly going to win. As you go up to 3 or 4 players, there is a lot of it's a heavy interaction game, and some people are going to feel sad about this. This is not a game that spares your feelings. I just want to make that clear. This is not a cute, cuddly game. This is a beautiful game. This is a game that, at 2 players, I feel like there's so much going on here. It rivals. I think that this rivals like chess, Hive, and any other 2-player perfect information strategy game. At 3-4 players, if it depends so much on your group. If someone is new, you probably don't want to kind of lay off them a bit. Don't attack them. At least give them some good advice along the way. Otherwise, they are going to have a bad time. This game, and the second thing that I wanted to talk about is just that kind of negative feedback loop. Again, this is no different to a lot of other perfect information strategic games. In a game of chess, as you lose more of your pieces, it's going to be easier for me to kill more of your pieces. And as you gain an advantage, it's going to get easier and easier. So it is with this game. As you get more and more trees up, I can block more of your light. I'm going to be above your light. If I'm able to get a big tree in the middle of the board before anyone else has really established a presence, then hey, I'm going to be basically blocking a lot of light every turn in one of those directions. So I'm going to be potentially really hurting people that way. It does hurt me as well, and so arguably in 4 players, the middle of the board, it might be a little bit better to go in the edges. I don't know, but the middle of the board, it's so lucrative, and you can squat. You could send in a little seed just to claim that area there, and maybe you just send in the little seeds just so you can get the middle of the board later on once you've got the energy. But then I don't know exactly what's the right. There's a lot going on in this game, and after the first couple of turns, I've seen really in-depth strategic breakdowns on Board Game Geek where people have tried to work out, okay, what is the optimal turn 1 play? And I'm personally fairly clear that for me, the optimal turn 1 play, okay, grow your tree. That's what it's all about. Get your engine going. And there is the feeling of growth. There's the feeling of, on this little board, you start off maybe getting two, well, these, you're going to start off getting 2 energy a turn, but soon enough you might be getting even like 15 in one turn, and then you see how far you've come, and it's got this fun escalation of numbers that is prevalent in Monopoly or Puerto Rico or any other, or those clicker games on the mobile phone where you're just seeing your numbers grow and grow, and it's got that visceral feeling. I love the fact that I've got to plan, okay, not just what's happening this turn from this position, but it's a spatial puzzle where things are moving around, and from what direction are things going to be. It's a puzzle about placement, about blocking each other, about where can I go to get the maximum amount of light, where can I go to get the maximum amount of the sun's rays. And this kind of blocking, it makes perfect sense, and I've not seen that in any other game. Sure, there's a lot of games where you put things down and then you capture pieces. There's a lot of games where you put things down and you move them around and you capture pieces. Or you put things down and you try to make shapes, like Pilos or Noughts and Crosses. I mean, there's a long history. But, I mean, this is a much rarer aspect. And so Hjalmar Hach did a brilliant job on this. And so massive respect to, I'm sorry I'm saying your name badly, Hjalmar Hach. That's an amazing job. And then Sabrina Miramon brought it to life and makes it a joy on the table. And the fact that Blue Orange made it all out of recycled materials, that's a nice statement. That's a nice thing to say. Yes, this game is properly green. Although I do want to point out that a lot of their games are made out of plastic. But at least here they kind of realize the importance of, this is a really nice production from everyone involved. And looking at the other people, there's a whole bunch of names that I don't know. I would also like to thank Simon Le Mineur for his sustained efforts and for believing in this game, Sabrina Miramon for her breathtaking artwork, and Giovanni Bernardis for undertaking countless tests. Should be an S in there. I would finally like to give thanks to Maurizio Vergendo, who discovered this game and whose friendship was born from this experience. I don't know who wrote this. It's not clear to me who wrote this set of credits and thanks, because what does it mean, Maurizio Vergendo? Is this discovered the game from Hjalmar Hach, or is that written, or is that Hjalmar Hach saying that Maurizio Vergendo made the initial thing? I don't know. I don't have anything. There's also an advanced version which you have 4 turns, and you cannot plant a seed or grow a tree when it's in shadow, which basically makes it even meaner. And so if you didn't think that the basics version was mean enough, who should buy this game? Buy this game if you don't mind being mean. Buy this game if you're okay with like people getting in your way. If you're okay with, hey, I'm getting in your light, haha. And it's no meaner than if you're okay with Risk and chess. Consider this. Would you play chess? Would you play 4-player chess? Would you play 4-player chess if the rules were a little bit simpler, if it was much prettier? Because this game is not meaner than chess, but that is the thing that I want to underscore. That this game, it looks beautiful, but it also looks cuddly. And the fact that it looks cuddly is maybe potentially going to be a thing that gives people the wrong idea. It's going to be a game where people might think, oh, I can play this against my 8-year-old, which is what the box says, 8 plus. Nah. If I were playing against my nieces, like one's 10 and one's 8, this would be one's almost 9. Like I would, yeah. There's no randomness. Like I don't know how I would make that an interesting game. I would have to either give them so much guidance that yeah, they're going to essentially I'm playing for them, or I'm forcing myself to make suboptimal moves, or yeah, or they're just going to end up losing every single game. And maybe that's fine, maybe, but that's not the impression that the box gives. And so there's a little bit of maybe that's the third thing that I don't like about the game, but that's not the thing I don't like about the game. That's more of a warning that there is a dichotomy between this beautiful artwork, the beautiful trees, and thinking, yes, this could be a game that we could play as a family and have a nice, pleasant experience together. No, this is a brutal experience. And Alan suggests they would be interested to see what it would look like if it were wooden pieces on a wooden board, so it would be more abstract and chess-like, or at least a smaller version to fit on a smaller table. That actually sounds quite nice. Yeah, little wooden pieces. They would have to be 4 clear colours. I guess you could have red, blue, white, and black. Maybe white, yellow, deep red, like white, orange, dark blue, and black. That might work. And then, yeah, I guess your player boards, you'd have little wooden tokens. Yeah, it could work. Certainly, it would be a more expensive production. And Alan says they don't mind being mean, and this game should conquer and devour chess. This coming from a person who hasn't even played it. I mean, correct me if I'm wrong, Alan. I mean, is this not just the first time that you're hearing about it, and already you're a convert to photosynthesis? I don't know whether I should be flattered that you trust what I say, or if I should be worried. Okay, fine, you've seen enough, okay. But I do believe that games, I do hope that even though I don't do a Rado runs through, and yes, I love trees as well, Alan, and I believe that it's such a nice theme, and it's interesting how there is so much viciousness going on. I mean, look over there. Look over there. Do you see all these leaves that are? Do you see all these vines that are now dead? And oh, there's lots of bugs coming off it. But all those vines were killing that tree and going up, and they go up so high, literally about, I don't know, maybe if a story is 3 meters, maybe it goes up 9 meters. I don't know. It's really, really high. Anyway, so nature, it's slow, but it's vicious. And maybe this game is like a nice lesson that's saying, hey, nature can look cuddly and cute, but secretly, nature is bloody vicious. No, I mean, I'm sorry, Alan. We made a declaration that we were going to hack the vines because we are pro trees in this garden, and yeah, we don't want the vines to kill the tree. I'm sorry, Alan. That's a decision that we made. But getting back to the point, if you are okay with a vicious game, if you're okay with the fact that someone who falls behind is probably going to struggle to ever catch up, if you're okay with the fact that yeah, that's basically the only things. If you're okay with those 2 things, if you're okay also with the third thing, which is when there's 3 or 4 players, they could gang up on you, then in that case, this is a really nice game. And if you like planning ahead, if you like strategizing, if you like thinking about, okay, what will happen in this turn? And this game makes me feel like a tree. I mean, it makes me feel like, okay, I've got to plan, for this turn, and so I'm going to do this on this turn, then that's on that turn, and that's on that turn. Because I can't just splurge. I can't just be like, boom, I've got 20 lights, which is the maximum. I'm going to 1, make a tree, 2, 1, grow it up, 2, grow it bigger, 3, grow it even bigger, and that's only 7. Boom, I can do that. And you can't do that because that's going to take you at least 4 turns. And the fact that it takes you at least that many turns, and the fact that in between each of these turns, other people have a chance to have their things grow up, yeah, it makes you feel more long term. This is a beautiful game. I like it. I can't see myself selling this at any point. How much? Yeah, I like this game. I'm not going to get rid of it. And tremendous review, no joke. Okay, so in summary, yep, it's about thinking ahead. It's about and you've got a pretty board. It's the mechanisms make sense. The only mechanism that might not make sense to you is that here, this 2-step process, which is integral to make the game work. So you've got trees here, but you need to buy them to put them in your personal area, which is just on the table in front of you, and then you need to spend money again to put them out. So what that might mean is that one turn you kind of spend money charging up, and this 2-step process, it actually ties into the theme of, not from a strict one-to-one translation of this mechanism represents that theme exactly, but from okay, we are trees who are doing things in a slow, roundabout way. And so, yeah, if you can get your head around that, there's instructions and stuff online. Check it out. I think it's brilliant. What am I looking forward to? I am looking forward to having people over today. I'm going to make some food. I'm actually quite hungry. I might eat some breakfast and then go to Lidl. I'm expecting to stand in the queue for a good hour, and then I'll buy some food and then come back and cook it, and then we'll eat it, and then we'll play Pandemic Legacy too. Really looking forward to that. Daily hope / ambition. I hope, this is a personal, I hope there aren't too many people in the queue. I hope that the queue takes me less than half an hour. That's my realistic hope. Also, I hope I don't get, I hope that people, yeah, seeing a lot of the videos this morning, it is quite upsetting what's going on in London with far right-wing demonstrators who are, also committing violence against the police. And I hope that, I hope that there is as little. I hope. I don't know what I can hope for, which is a bit sad, but I would hope for no violence, but clearly that's already been broken. I hope that I hope no one gets seriously hurt today, in London at least. Yep, that is my hope for today. And if you have any hopes, or Alan Alton says they're going to go and hug a tree or two. You should too. Thanks for the puns. My next stream, if I show this, just changing it up. Tomorrow, I'm going to do a brainstorm, and tomorrow I might be talking about, I don't know, will I be doing my normal thing of trying to invent new games, or should I do a thing of trying to come up with content. Maybe I could brainstorm and try to brainstorm content for a rather lovely choice, which we might play in a week or so. Let me know what you think, and we can decide on the day. So yeah, it's going to be some sort of brainstorm, some sort of content creation, some sort of development, and then we've got Alan Paul phrasal and all that stuff that's on the bottom. If you have enjoyed this, firstly, thank you to everyone who has been giving comments. Thank you, Alan, and thank you, Conrad12. It's lovely to have you with us. And if you have enjoyed it, then please tell other people about it. And if you're watching on Facebook or YouTube, give it a little thumb. And yeah, if you have enjoyed this, then I am stuffbybez.com. Oh, that's interesting. It pops up in the middle. So I will show you stuffbybez.com or twitter.com/stuffbybez or instagram.com/stuffbybez or twitch.tv/stuffbybez or facebook.com/thingsbybez, because Facebook doesn't let you have the F and the B next to each other. So you've got to have facebook.com/thingsbybez as the URL, but you can search for Stuff by Bez on Facebook and you will still find me. So that's Facebook, and you can also email me on stuffbybez@gmail.com. And those are all my things. I hope you have enjoyed this. Thank you for the thanks, and for now, all that's left to do is to say bye bye, bye bye. This is a bye bye song. Bye bye, bye bye. Thank you for watching along. Bye bye, bye bye. This is the end of the show. Bye bye, bye bye. Now it's time to go. Bye bye, bye bye. This is a goodbye song. Bye bye, bye bye, and thank you for watching along. Bye bye, bye bye. This is the end of the show. Bye bye, bye bye. And now it's time to go.